Hey everybody, it's your best friend Drew Geraci, and I got some comics to share with you from my spinner rack, and ones I've just purchased recently that will find a home in my spinner rack. I got some real oddities here, did I enunciate that properly, from Small Press, as well as two Marvels. I know you say, like, you're probably thinking, Drew doesn't do a lot of DC stuff. Well, I was a Marvel guy growing up, and that's what I know best, and there's a woman named Sasha who has Casually Comics, and she's great. She's got a broadcasting voice. She talks like a mile a minute, but you can still understand her. And she does deep dives into DC's past. So just wanted to give a shout out. So, Northern Light. This really caught my eye. I was in Pittsburgh, and I went to the best store ever, Ides, in downtown Pittsburgh. And I found this for like $4, and it's a 1977 comic. Power comics they burn brightly very shortly. I don't know if they actually ever sold. I love this cover though. It's got a little bit of a feel of like a Gil Kane by Jim Steranko, just a bit, you know. And it's done by Craig. Who? Jim Craig, or as he's called here, James Craig. The same year this came out, 1977, he ended up doing the very first issue of What If Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four. So it's from Lansing, Michigan. I think that's where Cheap Trick is from. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I love these old indie books. Okay. And there's all this origin stuff that I'm not going to repeat. It takes too long. But the lettering is kind of neat, but it competes a little bit with the artwork. I'm not big on that. So you see there's he's got a costume, and it's funny is there's just some white zipatone that gives it a faded effect of glass. That's a pretty good picture of someone's torso there. That's really cool. It had to be photo reference because some of the others are more like just comic book, BS shapes. But it's still fun. Still fun. And but first, let's go. Let's get a good look at. By God, a woman! I had no idea. Stuff it. I ain't got time for your jive. So listen up. First, I'm an alien, but that don't mean I dig what my brothers and sisters are doing down. Fact is, I don't. It's such an odd sentence, but that's fun. It's just fun. Now, in the middle of these books, I have a couple other power books I'll be sharing with you in the future. They have a lot of advertising in the middle, and they do, mail order stuff. That's how you got stuff, and also conventions that were coming up. This is pre-internet. There's our buddy Cobalt Blue, who I covered in a previous episode, 2 different incarnations. And what's cool is these characters, they had such faith in these characters that they offered posters for sale. Now this is the next issue. This is a little muddy, but that's only because it's a blown up photo stat. Like she doesn't take up the whole page. She takes up less than that in the next issue. And wow, look at that. Ooh wee. I think this is like the spread that Roy Thomas saw and thought, oh, we gotta nab this guy. And yep, they did. And I love he's committed to the handlebar mustache even with a mask on. So I guess he's doing it for flair, not necessarily for secret identity. So that's another great pose right there. And I love this character. He's kind of very Kirby-ish, a little bit of like what's his name? I can't think of it. The Death That Walks. Charmy Cuckoo now, Annihilus. So now this page here, the storytelling was a bit wonky, along with the a lot of the problems too in the story is the placement of word balloons. Like you'll have a word balloon down here that's followed by one up there, and it's just something people work out. I mean, for a first issue, it's pretty darn cool. This I can't figure out though. This guy's getting a steak put on top of his head, and he's slowly absorbing it. That's the crazy. It's like almost like an underground comic at this point. But yeah, he's got his Kirby on there. So a lot of detail. So it's fun. It's a little cramped because Craig was still kind of, you know, getting used to it. Oh, dang nabbit. I'm getting to grow fingernails. Okay. Boom. That's a very Steranko kind of effect there. It really grabs me. It grabs me. So, it's Bluebird, which is, I'm going to have another episode because I managed to find that in Pittsburgh. Like all these great books that cost pretty much the same as a modern comic, but you get to, you know, enjoy some nostalgia, and also you learn a little bit about publishing in the day. Speedball. What's really odd about this page is how this cover is, it's the first issue, but his face is hidden, and it's hidden there, and I guess that's a big reveal. However, he appeared first in an Amazing Spider-Man annual, I believe, or was it Daredevil? And you saw his face, so I don't know why he was, you know, Ditko probably would not have done this unless they told him, look, we're going to make a big surprise of his face. He's even obscured there. And it's written by Roger Stern. Code plot and pencils by Ditko. Script by Roger Stern. Inks by Jackson Geis, aka Butch Geis. And I was so jealous when I saw this because I'm like, I've always wanted to ink Ditko. And it's a great combination. So what happens is Robbie Baldwin's this typical high school kid, and his parents are splitting both ways. Not splitting literally, but the dad wants him to be like a super businessman that makes a lot of money, and the mom is more into the arts. So because he's like, I can't, you know, they're talking careers, and I haven't even got my learner's permit yet. So like, law is the ultimate controlled human power. Art is spiritual power, higher than any law. This poor kid's got to live through all that. Here comes a model for Harry Osborn take back. Here we go. Central Park. I have said this a million times that I didn't think Central Park was a real place. I thought it was like Gotham City because all I ever saw about it was people would go under the bridge and get mugged, and a lot of times it would be a couple, you know, in a horse-drawn carriage, and you know, these guys would hold them up, and then Spider-Man would web them or whatever. So it's kind of funny, but man, I love the color. I gotta get who's the color here. Hey, everybody, hold on. Oh, Tom Vincent. I'm not aware of his stuff, but I love the colors he chose. It's very Barry Windsor Smith coloring there, like the stuff he was doing in the late '80s, as well as the. See, I love that. It's like Geis is, you know, completing the image, tightening it up, and that damn old Speedball. He gets a costume somehow, but you know that's okay. It's comics, and Speedball. Are you going to take him totally seriously? This is a throwback to, you know, fun stuff because Peter was with Mary Jane. You know, they wanted some new teenage kid to, you know, start his own book, kind of new generation. It's two-parter or two stories, and this one, oh, I love it. That is such a Ditko face. There's these crazy masks, and he's like, why do we have to wear these? He goes, well, witnesses won't remember how big we are. Or even how many of us, all they'll remember is our masks. And I hate to say it's true. So this is the origin. Like this should have gone first, but not really. They just wanted to give you a nice setup. And it's a good choice. I love that effect. That's kind of P. Craig Russell-ish. So basically, he gets thrown off a building, bounces, come back up, and he more or less clumsily takes out these thugs. And I love that zip-a-toe on him. The book only lasted 10 issues, but he became one of the founding members of the New Warriors with Nita from Submariner, as well as Nova, Richard Rider, and Night Thrasher, and others. So, I love that ad. Good stuff, good stuff. Whoop. There we go. We got Jax and the Hellhound. Blackthorn Publishing, just like Solson Publishing and some of the other small press, they fascinate me. Like how, you know, a lot of people got published that maybe didn't get paid, but they wanted to have their work out there, you know, which makes sense. It's sort of how things are today. You can't just go up to Marvel and DC and say, hire me. It's best if you show what you could do if you could self-publish. Now, it takes time and it does take some money. And but I've said this before, the dedication to doing book 3, that's pretty amazing considering nobody remembers this. And I mean in the general sense. I'm not saying it to be nasty. You know what's weird? I don't know where the credits are. Let me see. Yeah, see, it has all the indicia, but it says nothing about who did the art. And it's interesting. I like this hellhound creature. I love that in the foreground. Wow. And it's like part horror, part gangster movie. I love the effect on that car there. And so this woman escapes her captor who tied her to a chair. These are great faces too. Definitely photo reference. But you know what? It doesn't look stodgy. It's got movement to it. You know, it's like Kevin Maguire. His stuff doesn't look stiff. So whoever you are who did this, and I just compared you to Kevin Maguire, so I hope I made your day. So, and he caught up and he's about to kill her, but here comes a hellhound. That's a spooky looking hellhound. Crunch. I like the line work on this page. It puts me in mind of something. It reminds me of what like the Image Boys would do later on, or the Image Inkers, that is. And it's also a little bit of Barry Windsor Smith, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base. You can tell me. I'm sure you'll know what the hell you're doing. G.I. Joe in 3D. Here's the weird thing. G.I. Joe was already a Marvel book, but Blackthorn published a 3D copy of it. And it's interesting. I like to know how that came to be, because G.I. Joe lasted a very long time. And, you know, the plot's pretty heavy, and I'm not going to go into it too much, because, I don't know if you find this copy somewhere, you know, I don't want to spoil everything for you. Just almost everything. So there's a real story. It's not just this hellhound hacking and slashing. Here's something here. I remember this Outposts. It didn't really grab me, but the cover, I'm sure the main expense was hiring Mike Kaluta and Charles Vest to do the cover, which is astonishing. And I probably went the whole budget. As the book goes on there, you're seeing the background is they're disappearing here and there. And that's it for that. So it's interesting. It had potential. I mean, the inking could be better, and also, like, look at those hands. And some of the panels are a little wonky, but what are you gonna do? Oh well. I will check out the Twilight Avenger, that's a costume that's so badass. I just love that. It's got the jodhpurs on, kind of like the Rocketeer. And my only hang up about this book was Elite Comics. I don't know how many books they came out with, but again, it was a diamond in the rough. It's like, oh man, I don't remember these guys. And of course, you have to have the sexy girl with being defended. And this is by John Woolley, pencils, creator and pencils Terry Tidwell, Butch Burcham. I think I've heard of him. Debbie Burcham, who's either a sibling or a wife, and Kathy Tidwell, Janice Woolley. So it's a family affair, and it's very much like the mid 1970s at Marvel, where you would see Glennis Wine, who was Len Wine's wife. You'd see a lot of Karen Mantelo would do lettering, Bill Manslow's wife. So I always think that's kind of cool. Now, this story here, okay, it starts off all right here, but man, there's so much dead air up there. I think what could have been done, maybe, is somehow have the page filled up a little more, like maybe go a little bigger, and or maybe like a shadow, like a little crosshatch that fades and turns into white because it's so dead. It's not ideal layout for the story that's being told. And by the way, this is good storytelling as well. So here comes Tornado Stadium with Twilight Avenger. And he's a football guy. He's being praised. I think a lot of the printing dropped off, a lot of the line work. So they're cramming a lot in here. So look at Dolores. Dolores. Something happy here, folks? Oh, you puppy dogs. Shh. It's okay, buddies. It's okay. Hey, settle down, baby dogs. Okay? Daddy loves you. Okay. There. Now they're content that I told them that. So this is a period piece. It's around the time of the Rocketeer, and there are certain elements that are very Rocketeer. A little too much. Like even this, him getting jacked up in the hospital. That happened in like the second Rocketeer issue or so of the, what was it? PC Presents. A lot crammed in here. So here we go. This is why I'm talking about Rocketeer. I've been thinking, Miss Dr. Hearth, you remember right before Dolores was hit, when we were talking about how maybe we ought to be doing more for people? Yes, I remember. And maybe this is the time to do something. I'm no Hercules, but I'm in pretty good shape. You're a scientific genius. Between the two of us, we ought to be able to strike back at those crooks. What are you proposing, son? A new identity that would allow me to fight crooks in their own element. By day, I'd continue being your assistant, but at dark, I'd become a scientist armed with scientific weapons. This centipede wears a mask to conceal his identity. So would I, and beat him at his own game. That sounds awful risky. What's a little risk when there's a chance to do good? I can't help sharing your enthusiasm. So, nice stuff. And they get to work on the gas. Also, it borrows heavily from the original Sandman from DC Comics back in the Justice Society of America. Justice Society of America. So you got that gas gun finished? So this kind of reminds me of like Peavy helping out Cliff Secord, where he's like the gadget guy. And beautiful car, and there is the costume. I love it. I love it. I like this stacked smash burger of panels here. That's good storytelling. He's ready to gas some ass. Come on. Hey, come over here. You. Why you? Here. And now, however, I forgot that I did cover Miracle Squad in a previous episode, and I did enjoy it. So I guess I forgot that it was also Elite Comics. Like I said, this is good, but it's too Rocketeer. It just really is. It's 86, and Rocketeer came out about 2 years prior to that. Now we go to Questprobe, featuring the Human Torch and the Thing. Way back when, in the very primitive time of computer games, there was a game called Questprobe, started by some guy named Scott Adams. Not the guy who did the Dilbert strip, but a guy who developed this game. And what is this, 1880? Does it say? Let's see. Let's all check out together. Focus, everybody. Not you, but I'm yelling at my camera. Oh, come on. Almost there. 1985, okay. There were 3 Questprobe books that came out. The first one was the Hulk with Sal Buscema art, and the second was, I can't remember, but the third one, they all corresponded with like new releases of different games. And I picked this up because I'm like, oh, this is, you got Joe Sinnott inking Ron Wilson, and you got The Thing, one of my favorite characters, and it's written by David Michelini. He did the plot. Now here's the thing, John Byrne and Bob Budiansky, they shaped this, how can I put it? They tied this in. They were like the masterminds behind doing the comic book version of the video game that would match up with the video game, like Overseers. And it's a big old backdrop. I get dead air, but here he comes. Here comes the chief examiner, and he's got a big black box. Wonder where they got that idea from. I've never seen pink and green androids, but they are kind of cute, ain't they? Flame on! But I mean, they're a little too silly to take seriously. That's the only problem. Wait a second. Okay. No! He's throwing the hammer, hitting another drone, knocking it from the path I've already soared to avoid, sending it slamming right into me. Woof! Not a lot of time to say that. So here's the monolith he's offering, this Questprobe guy. He's supposed to be a good guy, and it's just inferior. A coffee mug for Christmas. Everybody should get one of those. Let's see. But, yeah, even more cool stuff. So it's, I don't know. I was wondering if this even was official canon, even though canon wasn't a common phrase back then, if it actually mattered. But I guess it would cost money to reference and reprint something from this defunct video game. It didn't last very long. But I like these guys. Little Jiffy Pop heads. And, but, it's just, the second half of the Thing is much better because Ron Wilson's he's always drawn an excellent Thing. And there's a couple of really nice pages here that he did. And I don't know what Questprobe is, but I think it might be one of those games you walk through and you find something happening. And I love those stairs. I love those crooked stairs. And he goes on a slide to this gaping maw of not a paw, but a maw. And that reminds me of Daredevil, I think it was 137, where he went to the Jester's headquarters and had to go through like a fun house of dangers and shit. See, that's a good page. That would be a great page. I would mind owning that page if I had a moolah, because who doesn't love Bashful Benji? Especially inked by Joe Sinnott. That's what ties this together a lot more. Is if it had just an average inker on it, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. So he goes through this so-called like monolith type thing, and as it was with Johnny Storm, the examination is thorough, the probing swift, and the results draining. Oh, I feel weak as a kitten. The spider's gone, and so's the Wacko Baxter building. The only one left is a guy with the fishbowl on his head. Now he's taking on the lamb. So, could it be the chief examiner a villain? So I don't know if they ever finished this or not. And a big part of me doesn't care. I do remember having the Hulk issue, which was the first one where he fought Quasimodo, and which is kind of funny because Quasimodo wouldn't stand a chance. Well, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've ever seen these Power comics. Jim Craig is Canadian, and Michigan. What was I going to say? Where's that place in Michigan? I mean, it comes. It's near Canada, so Lansing, Michigan. And did you like this? Did you like him really coming to his own in the New Warriors? I remember in issue 5, he jumped in front of a train and said, "Children, don't try this at home," and it gave him this huge bounce. And that was one of the coolest scenes I'd seen in quite a while. Twilight Avenger, I wish it had been. They could have strayed a little more from the Rocketeer, because it is a cool costume and it has promise. And I love period pieces. It's coming out at the same time, or it came out in the 80s as well. And Jackson the Hellhound is interesting. And then that. Okay, well, let me know what you think. Okay, have you seen any of these books in the wild? Do you have all 10 issues of Speedball? Do you have all the Power comics that while they lasted? And any other indies that you dig? So anyway, you have a great day, and I'm out of here.